Hello, 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 hello. Jordan Sheridan, live on a Tuesday. I am an hour and 15 minutes later than I normally am. For good reason. For good reason. I have. It's like both days today, yesterday and today. About, I'd say, half hour before I was scheduled to go live. Um, our Flint story that we've been pushing super hard the last few weeks started to get some pickups. So yesterday, right before we went live, celebrity and actress Alyssa Milano tweeted calling for an investigation into our Flint reporting. And as a result of that, her calling for an investigation, right after that, my interview with the great Jimmy Dore, who had me on his show to talk about our Flint reporting, went up. So I had to, I don't have staff other than Jen. So, well, she's my business partner, so she doesn't really work for me. We're partners. But we were both kind of sending out Alyssa Milano's tweets as well as Jimmy's interview. And then right before I was about to go live today, let's show it to you. Of course, the screen goes black. 1 second. Here we go. Right before we went live today, Mediaite, which is a Mediaite was already Mediaite's a big website, covers media, politics, and finally we got some media pickup. So Democratic lawmakers and celebrities call for investigation after concerning Flint water testing report. So this story shows all the people that have been calling for an investigation based on our reporting. So right there you have the tweet from actress Alyssa Milano calling for an investigation on the testing that was done and basically pointing out, well, how do we know what the real lead levels are in Flint? Being that the testing had flushing go on, which is improper and illegal. You're not supposed to flush the water right before taking lead and copper samples, which we found was done in at least 35 homes. So Mediaite story shows Alyssa Milano calling for an investigation. The woman who then shows the woman who's destroyed America and is single-handedly responsible for electing Donald Trump. Susan Sarandon, if you could sense my sarcasm, she also called out what we found and called it shady and drew attention to it. And you also have Congressman Ro Khanna calling for an investigation, as well as Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard calling for an investigation. So, I'm not going to lie to you. It's been a Herculean task, a true Herculean task, getting this story picked up by corporate media because, unfortunately, we live in a country that doesn't have real media. We live in a country. Thank you, Tommy Tahifi Bayless, $4.99 in the super chat. This is a super chat, folks. Jerry Ross, I'm going to need you to donate. We've known each other for over a year now, and he's talking about our favorite troll, Jerry Ross, who I firmly believe is really working for the Dakota Access Pipeline. I think he works for Big Oil because he literally monitors and comments and trolls every single live stream I had, and I haven't blocked him yet because he entertains me. I mean, he doesn't have any facts to back up anything he says, but he must, it's what do they say? Like, hate is just as strong as love, so he must love us secretly. So, Jerry, if you're going to troll us, at least contribute to the GoFundMe. Thank you, Squirrel Lips, left $1.99 in the super chat. And everybody press the share button. Let's get this out to as many people as we can. Unfortunately, YouTube is still suppressing this channel. So even though we've reached, I think we're at 23,500 subscribers, we're getting some videos get like 50 views. Some videos get 75 views. Our live streams, even though we have all these subscribers, people don't get notified when we're live. It's very frustrating, to tell you the truth, because we're working very hard to get the true news out there, real stories of real corruption, real injustice, and YouTube is making it very difficult. So we're going to continue, and literally as I was going live, I'm getting texts from certain individuals pertaining to that Flint story. We're trying to get it out to as many people as humanly possible. So that's the deal with that. And just to give you an update, because today is Giving Tuesday, which is a big day of, corporations and individuals give a lot of money to good causes. I think I'm going to call this the Jimmy Dore bump. I don't know exactly how much we've raised since Jimmy's interview went up. You could go check out my interview with Jimmy Dore up on the Jimmy Dore Show channel. But we are now, what is that? Oh, I failed math at 11th grade. We are now $845 away. $845 away from the halfway point, reaching the halfway point of our GoFundMe, which honestly, folks, is absolutely miraculous. We launched this, I believe, in middle of September. September 12th. So yeah, we launched this September 12th. So let 2.5 months into this, we are almost at $25,000. I mean, that is totally and unquestionably thanks to you, the viewer. 416 people have donated to our GoFundMe. And, when celebrities give speeches and people give speeches during award shows and stuff like that, they always say like, oh, I couldn't do it without you. And, I've always thought, all right, well, that's a very cliche thing to say. Well, Jen could tell you and Ty could tell you. Tim, yes, I have reached out to Charlie LaDuff. He hasn't responded to me. Be nice if he did, though. I respect Charlie LaDuff's reporting a lot. He's a badass, aggressive journalist, one of the few, but he has not responded to me, so what can I say? We literally, you could ask Jen and you could ask Ty. We literally can't do it without you. Like, at the moment, we cannot sustain the business without the GoFundMe. That's not because we're struggling. That's because we had minimal resources to start, and we spent those resources on in-the-field reporting. We have spent those resources on, frankly, paying Ty, paying Jen, not so much paying me. I've taken the least out of anybody because I believe, actions speak louder than words and you have to lead by example. So currently I am living pretty much off my savings if I'm keeping it real, so that we could put the majority of the money that's coming in the field reporting, equipment costs. Jen needs money to spend on marketing and advertising. That's her expertise, because unfortunately, since YouTube is screwing us and not notifying people and depressing, it's all an algorithms thing. It's all an algorithm thing. So YouTube, for some reason, no matter how much subscribers go up, less people see when I'm live and when we post videos. Hopefully that will change as we get bigger. But anyway, we need to work around that by buying ads to elevate the videos on YouTube. Jen could explain it more in the live chat than I can. But I can't thank you guys enough. Our goal is to reach $25,000 by the end of November. So we have, somebody just left. Thank you, Andrea just left $10 in the GoFundMe. And Matthew just left $5 in the GoFundMe. So listen, we don't want to deter you. We don't want to deter you from the super chat. Feel free to leave money in the super chat too. Thank you, Jeremy, just left $5 in the super chat. Enjoy your work, Jordan, plus Jen, plus Ty. Thank you, Jeremy. Ty is working behind the scenes right now. That's why he's not going live this week. Ty began going live and reporting 3 days a week on the channel, but this week he's not, because he's trying to put up the finishing touches on our Flint documentary. So, Jen sent out an email earlier. If you're not signed up to be on our email list, you have failed at life. Go to statuscoup.com and sign up to be on our email list. Jen sent out an email earlier saying if we raised $5,000 today on Giving Tuesday, or as we call it, Giving Coup Day, meaning status coup, if we raise $5,000 today, we are going to hand over the YouTube channel to the top 5 donors that donated today. So the donors who gave the most today, we're going to hand over the YouTube channel to them for a week, meaning they're going to decide what I cover, what Ty covers, if Jen wants to report on air. Those 5 highest donors are going to have editorial control on the channel. Now, when I say editorial control, I'm not going to report kooky conspiracy theories that they can't back up. But if those 5 highest donors have stories that I could verify are true, that they want covered, the world is their oyster for that 5 days. So I will be covering those stories if we could raise $5,000 today. I have no idea how much money we've raised so far. Jen would have to tell me. But I don't think we're close to the 5,000 yet for today. It's only today. In addition, those that donate to the GoFundMe, $25 or more are going to get a special edition Status Coup sticker. A special edition Status Coup sticker that, unfortunately, I don't have to show you yet. But Jen put in for the design today. So $25 or more to the GoFundMe, not the Super Chat, the GoFundMe. You're getting a special edition Status Coup sticker. So, as Jerry Ross calls it, stop begging for money. I will not stop begging for money, because if we don't advocate, if we don't push to raise money for this company, then who the hell's going to? So, as a reminder, before I get into the first story, for the GoFundMe, if you donate $100, you get a Status Coup hat or shirt. If you donate $127, you get both a Status Coup hat or shirt. Remember, folks, if you donate $100, email us at emailjordan@protonmail.com. That's emailjordan@protonmail.com. We need to know your head size, your shirt size, as well as your address to mail out these fantastic gifts. $200 gets you that white swag bag, which will have signed goodies in there for you, including the pens there. $250 gets you that Status Coup backpack. And if you want to give more, I'm willing to give my blood, plasma, and other things for higher contributions. This is a grassroots media revolution. We are not like some other organizations telling you, hey, give us money, we're going to go do X, and then we don't do it. When we raise the money, you see what we're doing. We've already been to Flint twice based on your generous contributions. We went to Dallas once based on your contributions to cover the heinous murder of Botham Jean, a 26-year-old African-American that was literally hanging out in his apartment one night, and a white officer intruded on him and shot him dead. I'd actually like to go back to Dallas to follow up on that, because seems like there's a cover-up in the works. Although the newly elected district attorney, he says he doesn't believe the right charge is manslaughter, because the Texas Rangers decided that it was going to be manslaughter. But the newly elected district attorney says, no, as far as I can see, this is murder. So that's encouraging, and I've been trying to follow up on Botham Jean, and those updates as best I can. So I don't want to deter you from the Super Chat, but our preference right now is the GoFundMe. Oh, Corey Savignano. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Corey Savignano, $27 in the GoFundMe, bringing us to $24,197. So now we are just $803 away from $25,000. Corey, you're getting a sticker. I feel like Oprah today. You're getting a car. You're getting a car. You're getting a car. You're getting a car. Corey, you're getting a sticker. So now for today, if you have contributed $25 or more, also email Jordan@protonmail.com, because we need your address to send you the sticker. And poor Jen is wonderful. She is the one that's mailing out all of these hats, shirts, stickers, and all that, while also, taking her kids to and from school and being a mom, and she's just wonderful. So give it up for Jen in the live chat. So I enjoy your mispronouncing my name, so it's okay, Darth Corey says. Put how I pronounce it in the live chat so I can pronounce it better. But folks, I believe in miracles, and I think we could get to $25,000 today. I really do. I do. And by the way, I'm going on vacation Saturday for a long delayed vacation. I was supposed to go on vacation actually last year, but unfortunately I was fired from my job, as you know, so I had to make other plans. So I didn't go on vacation. So I'm going on vacation. To be clear, I'm going on vacation with my money. My money. Before the conspiracy theorists get out there, my money. I could show you the receipts. I use my credit card points that I built up over the years to go on vacation, if you need to know. So I'm going on vacation for 8 days. In my absence, Ty will be going live. Jen doesn't know it yet, but Jen will be going live as well. She hates it, but you only get better on air if you do it. And she keeps thinking she's bad, but I keep telling her the people love Jen. All I hear is, we want more of Jen. We want more of Jen. So Jen will be going live in my absence. Ty will be going live in my absence, and it's going to be wonderful. Thank you, Gene, $9.99 in the super chat. Hey, Jordan. It's more like Saviano, Darth Corey says. Well, Corey Saviano, thank you very much for your generous $27 contribution. And everybody keep the love coming in that GoFundMe. And by the way, I really, really thank Jimmy Dore. Obviously, we've gotten an increase in donations after the Jimmy Dore interview. And most importantly, and this is what I want you to really get into your heads, why we need your support. I'm not going to go so in depth, but every single time I go on Jimmy Dore's show, we get probably a subscriber increase of about 1,000 subscribers in like a day. Why is that? Because the majority of progressive viewers that knew me from the Young Turks have no fucking idea Status Coup exists. Why? Because YouTube doesn't put our videos out on feeds. So if you go to YouTube, and you're not subscribed to this channel, it is very, very doubtful you will ever see our videos in the YouTube feed, or see it when we're live, whether I'm live or Ty's live or Jen's live. Why is that? Because YouTube, which I call FewTube, it's really FewTube, changed its algorithm to elevate CNN and other corporate channels and suppress independent outlets like myself, Jimmy Dore, Secular Talk, The Humanist Report, Jamarl Thomas, Progressive Soapbox. I could go on. So, unfortunately, even if we're putting out great content, the majority can't see it. So I hope if you're new to this channel, press the subscribe button. And also, when you press the subscribe button, make sure you click on all notifications. Even that doesn't work half the time. You know, Ty, it pisses me off to no end. Ty really pisses me off. And it's not his fault, but it is his fault. Because Ty, you know, it's one thing if your mother calls you while you're on your live stream because she doesn't know what time you're live. Ty, who's our cameraman and photojournalist, I have told him 500 times, I go live every single day at 5 p.m. Eastern time. 5 p.m. Eastern time. But he still calls me, sometimes twice while I'm live. And what does he say? Well, I didn't get a notification because YouTube doesn't notify. YouTube doesn't even notify me when I'm live. I don't get a notification and I'm subscribed. So, Ty, put it in your calendar, 5 p.m. Eastern every single day. But it's in a way he's right because YouTube doesn't notify him even though he's a subscriber, even though he clicks all notifications. And now I'm getting people messaging me saying, "Oh, we've been unsubscribed," which I know has happened to Jimmy Dore a lot. And by the way, it's not just FewTube doing it. I have 80,900 followers on Twitter. Nobody even sees when I tweet. So, at Jordan Chariton, make sure on Twitter you have pressed that you want notifications when I tweet. Because nobody has any clue when I tweet. I get messages all the time. Jordan, are you still on Twitter? I have 80,900. You know how much work it takes to get 80,000 Twitter followers? That's tweeting while you're sleeping, while you're bathing, while you're doing other things. So on Twitter, you could click, you want notifications for certain people when they tweet. Make sure you click on my Twitter that you want notifications. Also, sorry, this public service announcement is getting long. Promise I'm getting to the news. Make sure you follow at Status Coup on Twitter. Very, very important. We got to build up our Twitter. Jordan, will you please do some follow-up on the people and issues around the Standing Rock protests, like, for example, Chase Iron Eyes, Red Fawn, and LaDonna Brave Bull Allard, I think you're talking about. Number one, click on playlists on this channel. Adam Nation, click on playlists on this channel. Click on, I believe, the Money and Oil playlist and water contamination playlist. There's playlists that have breakdowns. I have followed up extensively on Standing Rock on this channel. But I would like, Jen could tell you, literally the first story that I said to Jen I wanted to do when we had the money was go back to Standing Rock and do kind of a after the rock. After the rock. Because what I am about and what Status Quo is about is not only going when all the cameras are there, we want to go before all the other cameras arrive. We also want to go long after all cameras have left, because the most corruption and the most injustice happens when the cameras have left, when the media is not paying attention. Right now, in South Dakota, even though a federal judge has revoked the final permit for the Keystone XL pipeline, guess what? TransCanada is building anyway. They are building anyway because they don't give a damn. They don't have to follow the laws because they know they'll only have to they know they'll only get a slap on the wrist and have to pay a fine. So I would love, along with Ty, who, let me tell you, there's nowhere else that Ty likes going in the cold of winter than South Dakota. You should have seen him when he was with me in North Dakota during Standing Rock. That man looked, he was so pale you couldn't even tell he was black anymore. He was so cold. I was cold too, but I'm from New York. He's from LA. He couldn't take it. But we desperately want to get out to South Carolina. There's a lot of other, I'll update you tomorrow on other stories we want to go cover. But we need money. An average trip, an average reporting trip costs between $2,000 and $3,000. But just to go for a few days, between flights for Ty and I, rent a car, which with insurance, if we crash, we get full insurance on the car. That could cost a couple, like $600 to $1,000, and then Airbnb and food. So that's, we're not asking for money for our health. Real reporting costs money. However, the beautiful thing is the GoFundMe is really our seed money to grow and get out in the field. Our long-term business model is paid membership. So if you're not familiar, you can now become a paid Status Quo member. Go to statusquo.com, as my computer loads very slowly. Go to statusquo.com, where you can become a paid member. So here we go. You go to the website. Right there, become a member. You click on become a member, and there's two options. You could become a, hold on. You could become a Status Slayer at $5. And as a Status Slayer, you'll get our premium podcast episodes. Ty and I do podcasts together. I'm also going to be doing my own podcast. Right now, it's one a week, but we're going to probably end up doing two a week. So you'll get the podcast. You'll get behind-the-scenes video diaries where I, myself, Ty, or Jen give you really, really raw behind-the-scenes video diaries. I'm actually going to tape one after I go live to tell you about today and dealing with the terrible, terrible corporate media, as well as terrible, terrible politicians. We're also going to do a monthly email newsletter that is all underreported or never reported stories that you don't know about. And for $5 more, you get all of those things, but also you'll be invited to join us for a monthly video call. Sometimes it will just be me with you. Sometimes it will be myself and Ty, and sometimes it will be myself and Jen. So, and sometimes all three of us. So it just depends on availability. And we're also going to be doing in the field, behind the scenes content. So when we're in the field, Ty is going to be cutting special videos that some of it is downright humorous, some of it is really sad, and some of it is downright outrageous that we probably shouldn't be putting out to the public, but to hell with it. It will all be legal, though. Don't worry. Everything's legal. And also, Ty is going to be cutting special behind-the-scenes content just for members from our documentaries, which the first documentary we're doing on Flint will be out in the middle of December. We're targeting the middle of December. So not only do you get these things, but most importantly, you get to contribute. You get to support real independent media. I'm not naming names, folk, but there's a lot of outlets out there that are, asking for your money per month, and they're saying they're progressive and how wonderful they are, and, they're leading the charge, but they don't actually go out and cover anything of substance. They cover, Trump 24/7. They cover Russia 24/7. They cover, fake scandals 24/7. Listen, you want to give your money to those people? Feel free. But I think your hard-earned money, because most of you are not, rolling in it. I think to those commenting in the live chat, I'm not specifically saying, I'm not specifically talking about any specific outlet. I'm not specifically talking about any outlet. But to me, if I have $10 a month extra or I have $5 a month extra and I have media to support, I'm gonna give it to the people that I see in front of me are going out there, rolling up their sleeves and doing the dirty work that no one else will do. And I hope I have shown you, and Jen has shown you, and Ty has shown you, that's what we're about. And by the way, if you're already a Patreon subscriber to Status Quo, you don't have to change anything. Stay a Patreon subscriber. You will get this content. We're going to be putting the content for Patreon subscribers as well as members. Our preference, if you're not a subscriber to anything, is to become a member on our site. You can become a member. Go to statusquo.com, click on Become a Member. The reason is, who knows in 2 years, in 5 years, where Patreon will be. Just like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter change their algorithms and change their business model that end up screwing us. Hopefully not, but Patreon one day could end up not being as advantageous to us. So we want to grow our business long-term on our own platform through our own membership section. So that's the deal. So now that my way too long public service announcement has gone out, now I can cover, I'm going to cover less stories today because I have to get the Flint story out to more people. If you're just coming to this late, oh, thank you. Andrea just left $15 in the GoFundMe. Now we're at $24,212. So it's a stretch. It's a stretch just to think if we could raise, I want to raise $25,000 by the end of today. So obviously most of that has to happen during this live stream. It's definitely a stretch, but I've seen crazier things happen. Somebody, an anonymous person, left $700 on Sunday during our marathon live stream where I was live for 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours. Some of you are still recovering from that. So, Andy, and by the way, reminder, if you leave $25 or more on the GoFundMe today, email jordan@protonmail.com. Email jordan@protonmail.com. We need your email. We need you to email us your address so we could send you the sticker, the special edition Status Quo sticker. So I want to start today there's a report in The Guardian that I don't understand. It's being breathlessly repeated. It's being breathlessly repeated by all these other outlets. And it says that Paul Manafort met with Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy in London 3 times. I believe in 2013. Oh, I could just show you the story. Hold on. So The Guardian is reporting that Paul Manafort, Trump's former campaign manager, met with Julian Assange in 2013, 2015, and in the spring of 2016. They are saying he met in the spring of 2016, I believe in March, which is around the time that Paul Manafort joined the Trump campaign. Very important point of this report. Number one, when a news organization like The Guardian breaks a major story, other news organizations, I put news in air quotes, like CNN, MSNBC, NBC News, CBS, ABC, the Associated Press, they try and independently on their own, confirm the original outlet that broke the story's reporting. Because you don't want to just, the corporate media has no problem regurgitating uncritically and breathlessly report stuff the CIA gives it, the FBI gives it, but in the case of another news outlet, they try to confirm it themselves. So it's important to note, no other outlet that I know of, because I've been following it most of today, no other outlet has verified The Guardian's reporting, which is the first red flag to me. The second red flag is The Guardian story changed pretty significantly within an hour. So my apologies. Somebody caught this, and I'm not giving them credit because I didn't write it down. I was doing 30 things at once. Jen could tell you how many things I was doing today. I spent most of this morning emailing politicians that I've previously reached out to who haven't done a damn thing. in response to our Flint investigation, showing them that Alyssa Milano has called for an investigation, also showing them, my interview with Jimmy. So I spent most of the day doing that, and then Mediaite came out with the story. If you're coming to this late, the website Mediaite did a story about our reporting and the fact that Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Representative Ro Khanna, Alyssa Milano, Susan Sarandon, and others have called for an investigation. So now I'm trying to get that out while trying to prepare for a live stream. So if you see, the left side was the original story. The original story is the left side, but there was I think significant changes made within an hour. They call this stealth editing. So on the left, it says, why Manafort sought out Assange in 2013 is unclear. Then they changed it to why Manafort might have sought out Assange in 2013 is unclear. Well, did he or did he not? It's very concerning to me when a major outlet like The Guardian publishes this major story basically accusing Julian Assange of meeting with Trump's campaign manager the same exact month that Podesta's emails, the phishing attack into John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman's emails, was in March 2016. So The Guardian is putting out a story based on, as far as I could tell, a high-level source, they said, that Assange met with Paul Manafort in March 2016. Well, the first version of the story says, Manafort sought out Assange in 2013. During this period, the veteran consultant was involved in black operations, blah, blah, blah. Why Manafort might have sought out Assange in 2013 is unclear. Yeah, that's quite the change. There were other changes, too. Let me find those other changes. Hold on one second. What will be? Reminder, this is a super chat. This is a GoFundMe, so keep it coming. What will be? Oh, here we go. So, sought out Assange. This one is a little better. So, as you could see, also says it is unclear why Manafort wanted to see Assange. It is unclear why Manafort would have wanted to see Assange. They also have, in a series of tweets, WikiLeaks said Assange and Manafort have not met. Assange described the story as a hoax. So they changed two pretty significant things within 1 hour. So that's a red flag. Number two, London is one of the most surveilled cities, not in Europe, but in the world. Like, this is a known fact. London is one of the most surveilled cities in the world. And I'm pretty sure, call me naive, I'm pretty sure that the Ecuadorian embassy in London, which has held the most targeted whistleblower in the world, Julian Assange, since 2011, is surveilled 24/7 by multiple countries. So a little like Paul Manafort didn't slip in the back. He didn't slip in the back in the Ecuadorian embassy. So how is it that Paul Manafort could have gotten in the Ecuadorian embassy in 2013, in 2015, and most importantly in 2016 without any knowing of it? You have surveillance at all times. The U.S. surveils that embassy. Ecuador obviously has cameras in that embassy. Great Britain is surveilling that embassy. Swedish authorities is surveilling that embassy. I'm not a Russia truther. If I see a story that actually shows scandal, I'll report it. But I read the Guardian story, and it basically is reporting this based on a high-level anonymous source. And, I mean, for what it's worth, WikiLeaks came out pretty damn strongly. Remember this day when the Guardian permitted a serial fabricator to totally destroy the paper's reputation. WikiLeaks is willing to bet the Guardian $1 million and its editor's head that Manafort never met Assange. that is not like a lukewarm. That's not a lukewarm denial. That's like you ready to put money on this? Because Julian Assange never met, or says he never met. And by the way, WikiLeaks, I mean, a lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. I love them mostly. Some things I don't like, but by and large, I think Julian Assange deserves a Medal of Honor, not to go to jail. But WikiLeaks has a number, like a 100% credibility rating. They have never released anything that was shown to be doctored or false. Hillary Clinton's campaign tried to say they did, but they didn't. So, take it for what it's worth. And bear with me for a second as the screen goes blank because I'm adding this live because I didn't have time before. So we do things kind of on the fly here. So bear with me, folks. Paul Manafort also has denied this. So hold on. He says, this story is totally false and deliberately libelous. I have never met with Julian Assange or anyone connected to him. I have never been contacted by anyone connected to WikiLeaks, either directly or indirectly, he said. And here's the rest of that statement one more time. Don't you love live media without a producer? So, about to go blank. One more second. It's Russia doing it. Russia's putting me black. His statement ended, I've never reached out to Assange or WikiLeaks on any matter. We are considering all legal options against The Guardian, who proceeded with this story, even after being notified by my representatives that it was false. So again, Paul Manafort, this story is totally false and deliberately libelous. I have never met Julian Assange or anyone connected to him. I have never been contacted by anyone connected to WikiLeaks, either directly or indirectly. I have never reached out to Assange or WikiLeaks on any matter. We are considering all legal options against The Guardian, who proceeded with this story, even after being notified by my representatives that it was false. So I showed you Paul Manafort's denial, not because it matters, but it's part of the story. He's denying it. So I don't really care about Paul Manafort's denial. Honestly, Paul Manafort is going to jail for a very long time. He's a habitual liar. He's a habitual con man. So it's not like, oh, Paul Manafort denies it, so let's believe it. So that doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is, number one, just common sense. How would Paul Manafort, especially in 2016, get into the Ecuadorian embassy without being flagged? How? It just makes no sense. Like, and if he did, it would be pretty easy, you would think, for other news organizations other than The Guardian to verify it. If you didn't follow the beginning of my report, no other news organization has been able to independently confirm on their own what The Guardian is reporting. Not one. And I like The Guardian for the most part. I think they've become a little more establishment over the years, but for the most part, they do some good work. They've done some great work on climate change. They've also done some good work on Flint. Of course, it takes a news outlet outside of America to do good work on Flint. But on this story, I mean, they're basically making this huge bombshell allegation based on what a source is telling them. Unless there's more information and more proof, they didn't show any footage of it. They didn't show any footage of Paul Manafort with Julian Assange. And WikiLeaks is very, very strongly denying it, to the point where if it came out that it was true, WikiLeaks would lose all credibility. I mean, look at this denial from WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks would literally have they might even lose followers. Remember this day when The Guardian permitted a serial fabricator to totally destroy the paper's reputation. WikiLeaks is willing to bet The Guardian $1 million and its editor's head that Manafort never met Assange. I mean, that's not an outlet. Like, you're taking a big risk if he in fact did meet with Manafort and it comes out that they did. And you would have to assume that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange know, let's say that Assange did meet with Paul Manafort. You would have to think that WikiLeaks knows that Robert Mueller has that information. So I got to tell you, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Not because Paul Manafort's denying it, but this WikiLeaks denial, mixed with the fact that there is no other news outlet that has been able to independently confirm this. I think Glenn Greenwald said it well. I'll read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but some of it. While certain MSNBC and CNN personalities instantly and mindlessly treated this story as true and shocking, they're still doing that a couple hours later, other more sober and journalistic voices urge caution and skepticism. The story, wrote WikiLeaks critic Jeet Heer of the New Republic, is based on anonymous sources, some of whom are connected with Ecuadorian intelligence. The logs of the embassy show no such meetings. The information about the most newsworthy meeting in the spring of 2016 is vaguely worded, suggesting a lack of certitude. There are many more reasons that the very valid ones cited by Heer to treat this story with great skepticism, which I will outline in a moment. Of course, it is possible that Manafort visited Assange, either on the dates The Guardian claims or at other times, but since The Guardian presents literally no evidence for the reader to evaluate, relying instead on a combination of an anonymous source and a secret and bizarrely vague intelligence document it claims it reviewed, but does not publish. So, that would be like me saying, hey, I have video of Governor Rick Snyder in Flint residents' homes while his environmental agency is illegally flushing their water before testing for lead. I have video showing that Governor Rick Snyder is an accomplice to illegal testing in Flint. And then being like, but I can't show you the video. As Glenn said, no rational person would assume this story to be true. But the main point is this one. London itself is one of the world's most surveilled, as I pointed out, if not the most surveilled cities. And the Ecuadorian embassy in that city, for obvious reasons, is one of the most scrutinized, surveilled, monitored, and filmed locations on the planet. In 2015, Wired reported that the UK is one of the most surveilled nations in the world. An estimated 5.9 million CCTV cameras keep watch over our every move. And that, by one estimate, people in urban areas of the UK are likely to be captured by almost 30 surveillance camera systems every day. The World Atlas proclaimed that London is the most spied on city in the world, and that on average, a Londoner is captured on camera about 300 times daily. And here I was thinking of going to London for tea. As a reminder, folks, it's a super chat and GoFundMe. So as you read, I hope you'll contribute. We're at $24,222. $24,222. Very, very close to our halfway mark of this campaign. Our campaign is for 50 grand, so we're almost at 25,000, which would be halfway. So, Greenwald continues. In 2015, the BBC reported that Scotland Yard had spent about 10 million euros providing a 24-hour guard at the Ecuadorian embassy in London since WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange claimed asylum there. And that, quote, between June 2012 and October 2014, direct policing costs were 7.3 million euro and with 1.8 million spent on overtime. So this leads to one indisputable fact. If Paul Manafort, or for that matter Roger Stone, visited Assange at the embassy, there would be ample amounts of video and other photographic proof demonstrating that this happened. The Guardian provides none of that. So why would any minimally rational, reasonable person possibly assume these anonymous claims are true rather than waiting to form a judgment once the relevant evidence is available? As President Obama's former national security aide and current podcast host Tommy Vitor put it, if these meetings happen, British intelligence would almost certainly have video of him entering and exiting, adding seems dubious. So I want to bring this point to I want to bring this story to a larger point. And Christine, thank you for pointing out my stupidity It's pounds, Jordan. Sorry. Can you tell I haven't slept in a while? Thank you for correcting me. So, first and foremost, how is it that the Guardian's editor-in-chief, because usually there's somebody at the top of these outlets deciding things, and I've dealt with editors-in-chiefs in my career, how is it that an editor-in-chief is making this claim with nothing other than an anonymous source? I don't care who the source is. It could be a very high-level source. Hey, maybe it's British intelligence. Maybe it's British intelligence. Maybe it's Ecuadorian intelligence. But anonymous sources are only good if you actually have documentation or any facts to back up that sourcing that you then show the audience. I read the story. It doesn't have any of that. And why that's so important is, honestly, if Paul Manafort met with Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy around the same time, spring of 2016, that Paul Manafort joined the Trump campaign, and around the same time that John Podesta's emails were stolen. He was a victim of a spear phishing attack where your emails, you get a fake email, change your password or whatever, which is really, that's supposedly what happened. That would be a major, like, game-changing thing. I mean, I think the Russia story has been overblown, but I'm not going to, like, close my eyes if something develops. That would be very, very, very damning if Paul Manafort, in my opinion, if Paul Manafort met with Julian Assange at the same exact time that he joined the campaign as chairman, around the same time that Podesta's emails were taken. That would not look good for Julian Assange. That would not look good for WikiLeaks. I'm just being honest. It would not. To me, that would be indicative that maybe Assange wasn't aware that the emails might have come from Russia. If they did, I still don't think there's guaranteed, incontrovertible evidence that it came from Russia. But even if Assange didn't know who the source of the emails were, Assange meeting with Trump's campaign would at least make one wonder if he was in some ways coordinating with the Trump campaign against Hillary Clinton. To me, I think it would be unethical for Julian Assange and WikiLeaks to do that. But as far as I know, it wouldn't be illegal for Julian Assange to coordinate with a political campaign. It would be pretty shady and unethical for a journalist to do that, but not illegal. GTA IV Man says, $5 in the super chat. Thank you for exposing this, Jordan. Can't believe how fast this is spreading without solid evidence. Just shows how bad the media is. All of this bullshit, all of this Russia stuff, that's literally what Russiagate is. That is literally what Russiagate is. It's like a terrible game of fake journalist telephone, where I have an anonymous source who tells me X, and all of a sudden X becomes Y, Z, and then the alphabet starts again. So to me, if it's true, that would be a major game changer. That's why it's such a big story and allegation to make. And it's a very reckless allegation to make on the part of The Guardian if you don't have proof. And, I mean, here's the story. Read it yourself and tell me if I'm missing something. But I read it. I don't see much proof. Another journalist who's been very skeptical about Russiagate, he wrote, reasons for skepticism. A, the sources are vague. B, 2, Assange under heavy surveillance, so a Manafort visit would be easy to prove. 3, WikiLeaks denies it. Manafort calls it 100% false. And he also links to an interview he did in 2017. And he said, the timing, U.S. prosecutors are fighting a bid to unseal Assange's indictment, and Ecuador has denied Assange's lawyers access to him. So, as he's pointing out, well, right now we're trying to stop the indictment that the Department of Justice has filed against Julian Assange in secret. We want that. We don't want that to get out. And we also don't want Assange to have access to his lawyers. So let's put out there a fake story about Assange to further accuse him of wrongdoing. Let's put out another story targeting Julian Assange without proof. Paul says Jordan does not just assume, he questions. Yeah. First of all, the job of an actual journalist, because a lot of people who claim to be journalists are not, immediately, the first philosophy and thought you should have as a journalist, everyone is lying. Even your mother is lying. Everyone is lying. You could never be too cynical as a journalist, in my experience. Because the majority of times, you're either being lied to straight up, 100% not factual. You're either being lied to about 50%. So, all right, some of what they're saying is true, but the overall picture is not true. Or you're being told a half truth, or you're being told the truth. But you don't, as CNN and these other outlets, just breathlessly report what the Guardian is writing based on one anonymous source. Endo says, I'm hearing progressives say Bernie should not run. Have you heard it? You're hearing that from who? Politico? Because I've read Politico saying that, but I haven't read any actual progressives saying that. They found, I remember Politico wrote this story that Bernie's army doesn't want him to run, quoting a volunteer, somebody who volunteered during Bernie's campaign. Somebody who volunteered during Bernie's campaign, and somebody who did digital media for his campaign. So two people who were not high level on his campaign saying he shouldn't run, and suddenly Bernie's army doesn't want him to run. They'll do anything. Politico, the Washington Post, the New York Times, they'll do anything to try and stop the media, the political revolution. As Jen says, donate $25 today to the GoFundMe and you're going to get a limited edition status quo sticker. Jen, can I get a sticker or do I have to donate? Do I have to donate to get a sticker? And by the way, we have just reached 420 donors. So, for you 420 enthusiasts, here you go. Jen will be mad at me for that, but oh well. We've just reached 420. Oh, I'm about to get to Ojeda. Who's in Detroit today, giving General Motors hell. So, bottom line, I could go on for days about this. I think 60 to 75% of the reporting I've seen on Russiagate is unverified speculation. Some of the reporting has been proven to be false. The Washington Post reported last year, I think, that the Russia hacked Vermont's electricity grid. That Russia hacked Vermont's electricity grid. It was completely false, and they never even retracted the story. They just put an update. Oh, it came out, this isn't true. Well, usually the fake story, the fake news that's false, goes viral, but the correction doesn't really go viral. A lot of people don't see the correction. Trust me, I know. I'm living proof of that. Because in my case, there was a very false story about me put out last year, and that went super viral, and you become guilty by tweet. Now in America, you're guilty by tweet. And then when evidence came out showing that it wasn't true, nobody covers that. So trust me, I know. Mr. Paul, if you don't mind me, you guys are talking. So I'll follow up on this story, but as far as I could see, there's no proof. The Guardian ran this with one high-level anonymous source and nothing else, which is very, very reckless. Very, very reckless. So before I move on to my next story, without further ado, we have been running these awesome promo videos to show you the corporate media's reporting versus our reporting. It's fun and it's sad at the same time. Here is your brain on corporate media.
Politics aside, you gotta love this one. Former President Barack Obama holding a beautiful bouquet of pink flowers. It nearly brought the house down after making a surprise appearance at his wife's book tour event. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is promoting her memoir, Becoming, and President Obama compared his cameo to rapper Jay-Z.
One of the testers said that she collected the sample. She was still at work, but trusted the MDEQ officials and to come in. I mean, her daughter's over 18, so her daughter was there to watch and to make sure. And they watched once again that they ran the water and collected it. But then on her test slip, when she got it back, it said sample collected by, and it said Nakia Wakes. And she said, this isn't true. She said, I didn't do it. I was at work at the time, and you can verify her timesheet. So that's interesting. That means somebody else had to fill her name in because yes, on the test sheet, you have to write who owns the home, you know, who is the homeowner who lives there, but then also who the sample was collected by. And she said it sure wasn't me, but they put her name on it.
So our video editor, Colin, one of our editors, Ty is our main one, but Colin does great work, has been putting together those really, really fun and sad This Is Your Brain on Corporate Media videos. So we thank him. He's going to continue doing that. And yeah, that's it. Xander says, I was seriously floored when Jay told Jimmy Dore that the reporters wouldn't run the Flint story unless they could connect it to Trump. Xander, honestly, dude or girl, I don't know. Jen and I probably could write a book just on trying to get this Flint story published. Just on trying to get this Flint story published. It's incredible. It's incredible how corrupt and awful the corporate media is. And frankly, I sent this to a lot of independent outlets too, who, too many of them, are just breathlessly focusing on Trump and bullshit every single day. I sent this probably, I'd have to go back and look, probably to 100 outlets. Here, I'll show you one tweet. You probably didn't see this tweet because Twitter's suppressing my tweets too. I tweeted this earlier. I repeatedly sent this Flint bombshell to Detroit Free Press, the Flint Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, Newsweek, Mother Jones, The Nation, CNN, MSNBC, BuzzFeed. Add on The Intercept, add on ProPublica, add on Vice, add on a couple others. Off the top of my head, God, drawing a blank. Oh, the Associated Press, add on The Atlantic. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I sent this to so many outlets, and I got from some, is there a connection to Trump? From others, I got, is there a connection, basically we don't have the bandwidth, meaning we don't have the staffing to cover something like this, even though they have plenty of staffing to do 25 investigations about Donald Trump a week. Or they just didn't respond. Or they said, this isn't for us. Actually, some even said, we like the story, but we don't take freelance submissions. So I wrote back, okay, I'll let the poisoned people of Flint that are continuing to be poisoned, I'll let them know that news outlets are allowing false testing and illegal testing happen because their protocol doesn't publish things from freelancers. Even though I offered to share the credit. Like, you could put one of your reporters' names under the story, even though he or she probably didn't do any work, with my name. Nicole says, Flint, Michigan is a human rights catastrophe. Yes, that's a really, that's the best way I could put it. And I've been there 13 times, and I tell Jen every time, each time I go back, it looks worse. Each time I go back, it looks more and more. It kind of looks like a scene out of the Lion King when Scar takes over the kingdom and it just becomes all dark and dirty and evil. That's what it looks like there, because Flint has basically been left to die. Even before the water crisis, but especially after the water crisis. And honestly, which is a good segue to my next story, because part of what made the Flint River so toxic was General Motors dumping its waste products into the river. Well, as you know, it was announced yesterday that General Motors is going to cut almost 15,000 jobs, in a bid to trim costs. The General Motors says that it's closing down these factories and cutting these jobs because people aren't buying certain cars anymore that General Motors produces, and they are shifting to focus more on automized cars and electric cars. So I guess self-driving cars and electric cars. So the move, which follows job reductions by Ford Motor Company, further pairs the workforce in the sector that President Trump had promised to bolster. Referring to General Motors Chief Executive Mary T. Barra, he told reporters, "I spoke to her and I stressed the fact that I am not happy with what she did." So that's what Trump said. So you have almost 15,000 people that are losing their jobs at 4 plants, including a plant in the idling of the 5 plants, next year will result in the layoffs of 3,300 production workers in the United States and about 2,500 in Canada. The company also aims to trim its salaried staff by 8,000. The cuts represent more than 10% of General Motors' North American workforce of 124,000. Investors welcomed the news. Of course they did, because who the hell cares about the human beings now not knowing how they're going to put food on the table for their children, not knowing how they're going to pay their kids, how they're going to pay for their medical bills, not knowing how they're going to pay their rent. Who gives a shit about those people, right? Because we are the United Corporations of America, and human beings are just dollars on a balance sheet, not living, breathing, beating hearts. Word of the cutback in Canada had surfaced over the weekend. Just before GM's announcement, workers walked out of the plant in Oshawa, Ontario, into a driving rain, waving red flags and clad in ponchos bearing the logo of their union, Unifor. They began blocking truck entrances. And excuse me for 1 second, folks, while I'm live. I just have to respond to somebody associated with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Live now. We'll call you after. Sorry. Got to do that live. So, here's the deal. Oh, and President Trump, because President Trump doesn't actually have economic policy, here's what he wrote on this. Very disappointed with General Motors and their CEO, Mary Barra, for closing plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland. Nothing being closed in Mexico and China. The U.S. saved General Motors, and this is the thanks we get. We are now looking at cutting all GM subsidies, including for electric cars. General Motors made a big China bet years ago when they built plants there and in Mexico. Don't think that bet is going to pay off. I am here to protect the American workers. That's a load of bullshit. Plants have been closing under Trump. Trump has done absolutely nothing to bring back plants. As I told you during the campaign, Trump wasn't going to do anything to bring back plants. And the only way he can bring back manufacturing is if he basically lets companies pay zero taxes. So then, yeah, maybe you bring back some jobs, but the taxpayers get a tax increase to pay for the corporate welfare to these companies. But Trump has zero power to stop the United Corporations from taking a machete to jobs. Zero power. And by the way, Trump's tax cuts, I thought that was supposed to just stimulate an explosion in job creation. Well, it hasn't. It hasn't. It gave a sugar high. It allowed stockholders to do stock buybacks. It allowed CEOs to buy just another yacht for the summer. But it did nothing for working people in America. And here you have, by the way, you want to talk about the oligarchy that we live in? You want to talk about a corporate con job, which, by the way, is the title of my book. You could download that book at patreon.com/JordanJarredin. You want to talk about a scam and a rigged, oligarchic, terrible, evil, greedy, immoral economy? GM made $22.6 million off of the bailout. The taxpayers lost $10.6 billion. After filing for bankruptcy 5 years ago, General Motors is now one of the most profitable companies in the world. GM has earned a stunning $22.6 billion since the dark days of the financial crisis when the automaker was bailed out by the U.S. government, meaning the taxpayers, you. But the taxpayers didn't fare nearly as well. They'd lost $10.6 billion by the time the U.S. Treasury Department closed the books on the $49.5 bailout in December. Should say this story is from 2014, so the numbers are probably worse since then. So GM lost, we live in a free market, right? So GM kind of should have went bankrupt. But the taxpayers bailed out General Motors. And guess what happened? General Motors got richer. Taxpayers lost, what was it? $10.6 billion. And now, after GM got away like bandits, while we, the taxpayer, paid for that corporate welfare on steroids, you don't get a bailout from the government when you go bankrupt. But GM does. But JP Morgan does. But Bank of America does. Wells Fargo does. After GM robbed us blind, they're cutting off 15,000 jobs. Adam Nation says, plus all the concessions labor made 2 years ago, for what? Couldn't agree more. Sway Ocean says, $50K for a pickup, for fuck's sake. Oop, there goes my monetization. I cursed. I don't know what pickup you're talking about. You talking about a pickup truck? You want Status Quo to get a pickup truck? Paul says, 22.6 billion, cities died. And by the way, I talk about Flint a lot. Go to Detroit. Go to Detroit. Because, I'll tell you, other than the very nice, gentrified, beautiful 10 blocks that they've poured all the money in downtown Detroit, they put a Whole Foods in there and some restaurants and some bars and some nice apartment complexes that the real estate developers who bought off the politicians. The real estate developers are building those complexes in downtown Detroit, and then the media says, Detroit's coming back. Detroit is booming again. Yes, 10 blocks in Detroit are booming. 10 blocks in Detroit are booming, while the rest of the city is like a dead carcass. And I'm not knocking you if you live in Detroit, but I've been there, I've covered it, and it's rotting. Zoe Zakalik says, if I had my druthers, I'd arrest a few million people and deport them to the world Thor fell into. They'd love it there. I mean, it's not a terrible idea. So, after General Motors, and you want to know something? By the way, I'm not against electric cars. Electric cars is a great idea. It's great for curbing climate change. But like what happened when all the corporations wrote NAFTA, why aren't the actual workers that are losing their jobs, which not only hurts the workers and their families, does anybody in government or these corporations have a heart? Do any of them care about the people that are now going to be struggling to put food on the table before Christmas? Who are losing their health care, and their children might be losing their health care? Creative Experiments says, first Detroit, then us. We're next. We'll have trees growing through abandoned houses soon. Creative Experiments, there's trees growing through abandoned houses all over the damn Midwest, all over the Rust Belt. Paul says, we in Detroit thought we were your automakers. We took passion in it. It was our heart. Exactly. And when I was at the Young Turks, I actually interviewed people from United Auto Workers who have been screwed by the government. So, okay, GM, if you want to pour all this money into electric cars, automated cars, why not use the very workers you're laying off to build those cars? Do those cars just do self-driving cars or automate or electric cars build themselves? Are machines building them? Are we at that point? So why is it that there was no transition plan here? Why is it that there was no plan to maybe train these workers on other vehicles? Tay Derp says, I think it's about time to start seeing unions rising up. Hell yeah. But a little secret, Tay Derp, that the media won't tell you, a lot of these union bosses are corrupt themselves and not doing the right thing. Just keeping it real. I think Richard Ojeda, sorry if I'm mispronouncing, who ran for office in West Virginia, lost, and now says he's running for president. I think he said it best. He went down to Detroit to basically scream about this. Here he is.
Richard Ojeda here, standing outside of General Motors headquarters here in Detroit, Michigan. Last night I got word the 14,000 working class citizens that work for this company are going to be getting pink slips right before Christmas. That's unacceptable. Last night I got word these guys right here received a bailout not too long ago.
Hold on.
For this company are going to be getting.
Let's start that over.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Ojeda here, standing outside of General Motors headquarters here in Detroit, Michigan. Last night I got word the 14,000 working class citizens that work for this company are going to be getting pink slips right before Christmas. That's unacceptable. You know, these guys right here received a bailout not too long ago to the tune of over $13 billion. $13 billion. And just recently, they got a tax break that gave them another $150 million. Their stock is now up 5%. This company stock just rose through the roof while they're sending 14,000 people home with a pink slip, basically told that they no longer will have a job. You know, it's absolutely unacceptable. I'm running for the presidency of the United States of America, and I have a platform, and I'm going to go around and I'm going to use my platform to highlight the issues going with the working class in this country and how the working class are treated in this nation, and it's unacceptable. You know, these people right here are right now going to go home and party because of the great tax break that they've received and the bonus because their stocks just went up. When the rest of the people around here are going to go home and struggle and have to tell their kids that they're not going to be able to provide them a decent Christmas. You know, it's unacceptable. They're going to give 7,000 buyouts to white-collar jobs, but the rest, the other 7,000 blue-collar workers, are going to get told, sorry, get out. And that's unacceptable. We deserve better. The working-class citizens deserve better, and these jackasses need to get their heads out of their ass and start doing right by the people that put them on that top floor in this building right here. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Tell him, Rick. Tell him. That is Richard Ojeda. And I'm probably mispronouncing his last name. And he says he's running for president, so we'll see how that goes. He definitely is a working class Joe. Definitely a working class Joe. But he said the truth. He said the truth. First of all, why does General Motors continue to get subsidies? Why are these companies getting subsidies when their CEOs are making hundreds of millions of dollars a year? When they're making they're making billions in profit per year. And by the way, folks, if you want me to go out there and raise hell like Richard, go fund me. Go fund me, go fund me. Super chat, super chat. Just keeping it real. But it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And by the way, what is happening with General Motors is showing, I don't care what Trump says on the campaign trail. I don't care what any neoliberal Democrat says on the campaign trail. The only way to actually safeguard jobs for working class people is to take money out of politics, is to get rid of Citizens United, is to reapply tight regulations on the unlimited amount of money in politics. Because the reason General Motors got away with this, getting a huge bailout, and then laying off 15,000 workers, is because they bought off all the politicians. They bought off all the politicians. So, hey, if we had a country where politicians couldn't take endless money from corporations like General Motors and their CEOs, guess what? Those companies wouldn't get big subsidies anymore. The subsidies are part of the bribe. That's why they get the subsidies. It's part of the bribe. And guess what? If we had programs that the government invested in to help grow jobs, then you know what? If industries had to change based on the changing times, if things were moving towards automated self-driving cars or electric cars, as far as I could tell, they're not moving that quickly where you would replace 15,000 workers. Then the government could put in place transition programs for these workers so people don't just go hungry. Because not only are the families screwed right now, not only are mothers and fathers at home worried sick about how they're going to feed their children, especially during the holiday season, you're losing that tax revenue. We're losing that tax revenue of those workers. So if the government invested in jobs, if we didn't just let corporations do whatever the hell they wanted, then you wouldn't see this. And if changes needed to be made based on the changing times, automation, whatever, then you could have humane, efficient, and smart transition periods where maybe workers could be trained to do the jobs of tomorrow, as they say. But we don't have that because our government is run by the very plutocrats and corporations destroying the working class. That is why I call it the United Corporations of America. Say it with me, folks. United Corporations of America. I've been saying it for years. One day we will have a status quo shirt. Adam Nation says guaranteed jobs, guaranteed living wages. I'm for universal basic income too. And research shows that is highly effective. Universal income helps fill in the gaps from automation and corporations that run the country selling all our jobs to the lowest bidder in China, Mexico, and all over the globe. Sway Ocean, they are sedition and treason. Damn the UCA. I don't disagree. Elsa Grace, is that from Frozen? Why do voters keep voting for the incumbent? That's the problem. By the way, this is why I say, I'm hearing all these people, well, Nancy Pelosi is the most progressive choice for Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House election isn't until January. Why aren't progressives radical pushing for progressives to run against her? Why are we now just saying, oh, well, she's the more progressive choice, so let's vote for Nancy Pelosi, who we know is in bed with Wall Street, who we know is in bed with real estate developers, who we know is in bed with fossil fuel companies, who we know is in bed with Big Pharma. Why aren't we pushing to push potential candidates against her? It's not a gender thing. I don't give a shit what body parts Nancy Pelosi has. She's corrupt. I reported on it on Sunday. I told you on Sunday during my live stream marathon. If you're new to this channel, every Sunday I do live stream marathons starting at noon Eastern. Although the next 2 Sundays I won't be because I'm going on vacation. But the bottom line is this. We don't live in a democracy. We don't live in a free republic. We live in a legalized auction. And the corporations are controlling it because the corporations control our politicians. And I don't give a damn what Nancy Pelosi has to say. I don't give a damn how nice Kamala Harris sounds. I don't give a damn how nice Cory Booker sounds. I don't care how lovely Kirsten Gillibrand comes off. Follow the money. Platitudes are easy. Actions speak louder than words. Oh, like the story said, the investors are happy. Who cares about the workers going to hell? And by the way, this is not just a GM story. This is not just a GM story because this is happening all over America. It might not be 15,000 jobs being cut for every story, but there's being layoffs. Sears just went out of business. Sears, the department store, just went out of business because they could do it cheaper in a different way. Tik Talik says it's not pragmatic to piss in the establishment ocean. God, you should have your own channel. I can't say it better than that. Tim Flobogue, attitudes, not platitudes. Ooh, Jen, could you write that down? I want to steal that from Tim. Nicole Scher says, I worked to get Cory Booker elected to mayor in Newark, and he is a huge disappointment. What a turncoat liar. Hey, Nicole, did you see our Sunday live stream? Cory Booker was one of my top turkeys of 2018. We did 8 turkeys of 2018, and Cory Booker was number 3. Cory Booker's a sad, sad excuse for an elected official. This is my Spartacus moment as I take endless money from Wall Street and oil companies and big pharmaceutical companies. I am Spartacus. Cory Booker, get the fuck out of here. Seriously. And by the way, he's running for president. All of these people are running for president. Booker, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, probably Joe Biden. Sherrod Brown is more progressive than them. I'll give him that. As far as I can see, the only one that's actually progressive that's running is Bernie. Elizabeth Warren, I like her on economics. I don't like her on many other things. So that's the deal, folks. That's the deal. The media will cover this yesterday, a little bit today, and they're not going to cover it past that because the corporate media doesn't care about the people either. They're not going to go give a voice to these unemployed people. They're not going to go give a voice to the 15,000 people getting laid off. Hell no. And you know what? If we raise more money, we will. We will go where these plants are, and we will talk to the workers. But we need to raise more money. It's just as simple as that. So before I leave, I want to give you another update. We are at $24,222. That would be $782 away from our $25,000 end of November goal. Our overall goal is $50,000, so we're almost at that halfway point. To reach that by the end of November, it's going to take a few heavy hitters. Let's not lie. It's going to take a few heavy hitters. I know, for those that can't contribute that much, no amount is too small. No amount is too small. $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever it takes. Like Jen said, anyone who contributes $25 or more today, you're going to get a Status Coup Special Edition sticker. You got to email Jordan at protonmail.com. That's email Jordan at protonmail.com. Email that sticker so we can not email that sticker. Oh my God, I need to sleep. Email us your address. Email us your address so we could send you that sticker. And as a final reminder, if you so choose, $100 gets you a hat or a shirt. $100 gets you a hat or a shirt. $200 gets you a Status Coup swag bag. Oh, excuse me. $100 gets you a hat or a shirt. $127 gets you both. You'll also have to email us your shirt size and hat size. $200 gives you that badass white swag bag with signed goodies in it, and $250 gets that backpack. I want the backpack, Jen. Do I have to donate? I've already put in a lot of my money, to tell you the truth. So we appreciate every single person. We also appreciate Jimmy Dore because we definitely have brought in new audience and increased our audience since Jimmy was kind enough to have me on the show. It's amazing that Jimmy Dore, who calls himself a jagoff comedian, I think he's very smart. I think Jimmy is a lot smarter than he lets on. But Jimmy Dore, like the corporate media won't cover our Flint bombshell, but Jimmy Dore cares. Nicole says, love you, Jordan. Love your reporting, Jordan. As soon as payday comes, you can count on my GoFundMe. Well, thank you, Nicole. And by the way, we don't want people who can't contribute to feel bad. We're not, if you can't contribute, you can't contribute. You know, if you're struggling to put food on the table, if you're struggling, to pay rent, keep the lights on, we don't want your money. We don't want to make your situation bad. You know, I had a woman once send me a check for $100 that was on food stamps. I told her, please, I don't want to cash this check. Like, and she told, I don't know, she told me it was from her great aunt or something like that. But a woman sent me a $100 check that's on food stamps. I don't want people to put themselves out. So if you can't contribute, that's okay. But you know what you can do? You could press that share button. You could word of mouth tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mailman, tell your dog to subscribe to this channel. Tell them, doesn't matter if they're Democrat, Republican, progressive, conservative, or a marshmallow. I call out and I expose all of them. Because I consider myself a progressive and part of the proletariat. So, that's the deal. Thank you for your contributions. I will be live tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, unless there's another Flint development that makes me have to go late. Sorry I went late today. As a reminder, here is the story today. Our Flint reporting was finally picked up by one outlet. Hopefully that means more outlets will pick it up. And we will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, most people are not lacking compassion in this country. Most people have no fucking idea what the hell is going on. And before I go, I just want to say, I'm not really a thoughts and prayers kind of guy. I'm not religious. But definitely think about those 15,000 people that are laid off because of the greed. Because of the greed of this country. Because of the greed of these CEOs. Because of the total, utter spinelessness and theft of our politicians. The total sociopathic mindsets. How do you pronounce it? Sociopath of our politicians that funnel money from the likes of General Motors and then let them screw the workers that they fucking represent. I don't care if you celebrate Christmas. I don't care if you celebrate Hanukkah. I don't care if you celebrate Kwanzaa. I don't care if you don't celebrate anything. To do this now, to do this period, but to do it now is heartless. And I don't want to hear that we're the shining city on a hill and we're the hope of the free world. No, we're not. We are the United Corporations of America, and luckily, there's something called Status Quo who's here to expose it. Peace out.